I figured I would show you something that I'm working on. It takes some of my time. Here is a mopar alternator with a broken ear. That's the one that we need, of course. We prototyped. This is otherwise good condition, dual field mopar alternator for our Plymouth Valiant. And of course the aluminum ear is cracked. This is the one that we need for our bracketry for our slant 6. So I have fabricated a design that will allow us to mount, and we're just going to use sheet stock and just 3 holes, and that is going to fix us up. And so I transferred this pattern that I designed to some sheet metal. I guess this may be 1/8 inch. And we're going to try out our plasma cutter. I got this off of Amazon a few months back and used it once and put it back away. And I'm happy with it so far. You have to have your own compressor. But it does plug into 110 and seem to work pretty well. Put in a day's work to save us a few dollars on a part that we could just probably buy, but we're just too damn cheap. Put on my helmet and see if I can whack that out. Now, the reason I did it in white chalk was because it's really hard to see what you're doing once you put a helmet on. Can't see anything. What we've established is I'm terrible at this. We've learned to not let Kim anywhere near a plasma cutter. We did get a part that we could probably work with. 3 thumbs up for the great piece of equipment. It cuts in a messy, sloppy, slaggy sort of way that I am going to completely blame on the equipment and not at all on the fact that I didn't even read instructions and have no experience or training on how to use it. You don't have to be Sherlock Holmes to see that I'm much better with a grinder than a welder or a cutter, but I'll never get any good if I don't practice. So I pulled out the piece of equipment, got it all hooked up so that I know how to do that. And if I ever get in a situation where I absolutely need to be using that specific thing, because I could have cut this out with a wafer wheel on a angle grinder, and I thought about doing that, but I'll never get any proficiency with my plasma cutter if I don't practice. So this was an opportunity to do something useful while also gaining some skill or at least some familiarity. So, don't be afraid to get your initial safety instruction and then just try it for a little bit, because you don't know what you don't know until you give it a try. I would have thought that I could just zip around some corners and make it real nice, real fast, and now I realize I don't know how. I make a lot of slag and keep popping and so I know better what questions to ask, and I will therefore be a better student when someone comes along and says, this is how you do this, and I can ask, well, how did you get it to not give you these problems? So I encourage you to stay curious, give it a try, because especially with something like this, I can clean this up with a grinder in a few minutes and it'll still come out as a great part. And I wasted some time, but it was time well wasted. perfect. Now we just need to mark where we're going to put our holes. I think we're gonna start. Whoop, we're upside down. We're gonna start with this hole because it's blind. We can't mark it from the back, so we're gonna start with that one. We're gonna figure out where it needs to be, drill it, put it on there tight. Then we can mark from the back where that hole needs to be drilled. This way it's perfect. And then we can put a hole in here, and then we can just put a nut on the back of it when the bracket is up against it. And that will line us up. We will have a working charging whirler.